In this video, Group 3 will present for you the Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 of this unit, Principle of Marketing. So firstly, we will come to the Chapter 5, Consumer Markets and Buyer Behavior. First and foremost, I will define you the consumer markets and construct a simple model of consumer buyer behavior. So what are consumer markets? A consumer market is a market when individuals purchase products or services for their own personal use as opposed to buying it to sell themselves. A customer market is a market in which customers are also final consumers. These customers make their purchase to consumption, which is different from organizational customers who make their purchase for production. And for example, in restaurant and hospitality market, it cannot be denied that no one bring the dishes buying at the restaurant to bring home and use this food to make all the dishes and then sell at their restaurant. They buy food at the restaurant for their personal consumption, specifically eating. Or in a smartphone market, people won't buy a Samsung to break it and use it for making another Android phone and sell it to other people. No. They buy it to use for calling, for working purpose, or so on, and these markets are consumer market. I will construct a simple model of consumer buyer behavior. The buying behavior is based on the marketing stimuli, which is the factor orchestrated by marketers that influence people's consumption choices coming from the environment, such as the 4Ps, which is the marketing mix, and or the environmental factors such as the economic, technological, social, and cultural forces in the microenvironment. The stimuli then go through the buyer black box where a decision is formed. You know that consumers make many buying decisions every day, and the buying decision is the focal point of the marketer's effort. Most large companies research consumer buying decisions in great detail to answer questions about what consumers buy, where they buy, how and how much they buy, when they buy, and why they buy. However, it's difficult to see inside the consumer head and figure out the whys, because the answers are often locked deep within the consumer mind. That's why it's called the black box. The black box consists of two parts. This reaction on stimuli is based on the buyer characteristic as well as the buyer decision process. What specifically is going on here regarding the buyer characteristic will be discussed in more detail later. Turn back to the model of consumer buyer behavior. The outcomes of the thinking that take place in the black box are the buyer responses. These refer to buying attitudes and preference. Also, the purchase behavior is an outcome. What does the consumer buy, where and when, and in what quantities? Finally, the relationship behavior towards brands and companies is the result of all of the things going on in the buyer black box. Thus, the black box is the central element of the consumer buying behavior. And now we will examine closely what happened inside the factor influencing consumer buyer behavior. As you can see in the figure, the consumer purchases are influenced strongly by cultural, social, personal, and psychological characteristics. And these characteristics are ordered into 4 different levels, from the most profound influence to the least profound influence. So now let's talk about the characteristic that has the broadest and deepest influence, cultural characteristic, including 3 elements: culture, subculture, and subclass. Culture is the software of the mind. In other words, it is the set of basic values, perceptions, and behaviors that distinguish one group from another. These values and behaviors are learned by a member of society from family and other institutions. They are so deep-seated, and that they steer a person in any situation. Therefore, culture is the most fundamental cause of a person's wants and behaviors. Every society has a culture, and cultural influences can differ greatly between groups. Therefore, marketers must adjust to this variation in order to prevent embarrassing cultural blunder. Each culture consists of several smaller subcultures. These subcultures are groups of people who share value systems. This may be based on common experiences and situations. Subcultures can be nationality, religions, but also geographic regions. Often, single subcultures make up a market segment that marketer aim at by tailoring a product to the subculture's needs. Classes exist in nearly every society. The term social class refers to a certain permanent division in a society. The social class is an important factor in the buyer black box as it determines what the consumer response will be. A combination of several factors such as income, occupation, and education determine the social class structure. Worthy of note is that the fact that in some societies it is easier to move between social classes than in other societies. In Europe, the borders between social classes are not that rigid. Therefore, people can move to a higher class or drop to a lower one. In other social systems, they may be more fixed, making it difficult to climb up the ladder, especially in areas such as cars, lasers, and clothing. Social classes show different product and preferences. About the social factor, there are also three elements: groups and social network, family, and role and status. First, groups and social network. Many small groups influence a person's behavior. People often are influenced by preference groups to which they do not belong. Preference groups serve as direct or indirect points of comparison or reference in forming a person's attitude or behavior. Word of mouth influence can have a powerful impact on consumer buying behavior. The personal words and recommendations of trusted friends, family associates, and other consumers tend to be more credible than those coming from commercial sources such as advertisement or salespeople. Online social networks are online communities where people socialize or exchange information and opinions. Social networking communities range from blogs like Fortress, Blogger, and message boards such as Zalo, Messenger to social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and even communal shopping sites like Shopee, Lazada. And these online forms of consumer to consumer and business to consumer dialogue have big implications for marketers. Second, family. As do groups and social network, family strongly influence the buyer black box. In fact, the family is often the most powerful influence on consumer buying behavior. For instance, the husband-wife relationship and involvement may greatly affect an individual's buying behavior, but also children can have a strong influence on family buying behavior. Third, roles and status. Would a top manager of a large-scale international organization drive a Hyundai i10? The answer to the question is quite clear, but why? It has to do with the role and the status of the person. This is nothing else than the person's position in a certain group. The role refers to the activities that the person is expected to perform according to the group members. Also, each role carries a certain status that reflects the general esteem given to it by society. Since people usually choose products based on their role and status, as the above mentioned example shows, this factor can greatly influence the buyer black box. Let's talk about personal factors. A buyer decisions also are influenced by personal characteristics such as the buyer's occupation, age and stage, economic situation, lifestyle, and personality and self-concept. A person's occupation affects the good and service bought. With age and life stage, people change the goods and service they buy over their lifetimes. A person's economic situation will affect his or her store and product choice. Lifestyle is a person's pattern of living as expressed in his or her psychographics. Personalities refer to the unique psychological characteristic that distinguish a person or group. When it comes to psychological factors, a person's buying choice are further influenced by four major psychological factors: motivation, perception, learning, and belief and attitude. A motive is a need that is sufficiently pressing or direct the person to seek satisfaction. Perception is the process by which people select, organize, and interpret information to form a meaningful picture of the world. Learning describes change in an individual's behavior arising from experience. A belief is a descriptive thought that a person holds about something. An attitude describes person relatively consistent evaluation, feelings, and tendencies toward an object or ideas.
When it comes to buying decision behavior and the buyer decision process, there are four types of buying behavior, like complex buying behavior. For example, buying house, you have to decide whether you want to buy a house or not, and if which type of house you want to buy. Dissonance reducing buying behavior is another type, like consumer buying behavior in situations characterized by high involvement but few perceived differences among brands. The third one is habitual buying behavior. For example, when it comes to food, we tend to buy the same items and eat them on a regular basis. The last one is variety-seeking buying behavior. For example, is when a person buys something online and then choose the one that is the best fit for them. The buyer decision process includes five stages. The first stage of the buyer decision process is customer recognize a problem or need. Then they gotta search for information through personal sources or public sources like mass media, newspaper. The third one is they use information to evaluate alternative brands and the choices. Next one, the buyers is about choose the brand they're gonna purchase. The last one is post-purchase behavior. They gotta take action after purchase, pay on their satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Look at the slide, we can see that the adopting process is in a mental process an individual go through from first learning awareness, then interest, evaluations, trial, and then to final regular use. Adoption here is when the customer decides to make full and regular use of the product. Look at the picture, we can realize that the characteristics of the new products of an X rate of adoption. Some products catch on almost overnight. For example, iPhone or iPad, they gain all the attention of the public when they were first introduced. However, others takes a longer time to gain acceptance.
And the next part is talking about chapter 6, business markets and business buyer behavior.
So let's have an overall view about the business buyer behavior and the business buying process. Business buyer behavior refers to the buying behavior of the organizations that buy goods and services for use in the production of other products and services that are sold, rented, or are supplied to others. The business buying process is the process where business buyers determine which products and services are needed to purchase and then find, evaluate, and choose among alternative brands. Market structure and demand are what business usually deal with. The first one is pure with larger buyers. The second one is supply demand. The third one is inelastic demand. The final one is fluctuating the demand, and the demand for many business goods and services tend to change more quickly and than the demand for consumer goods and services. For example, the cunning long-running, top yet beautiful consumer marketing campaigns features a family of Godzilla who are out to convince the final buyers that it makes sense to choose digital device with screen make up Godzilla class. So this say that the business buyers usually face more complex buying decisions than do consumer buyers compared with consumer budgets. Business budgets usually involve more decision participation, more professional purchasing effort, more buyer and seller interaction. For example, the Coca and chocolate division does more than sell its product to consumer. It partners closely with consumers to help them use its products to serve their own customer better and more profitable. Let's come back to the business buyer behavior. The figure 6.1 shows the model of business buyer behavior. So within this organization, buying activities consist of two major parts. The buying center, composed of all the people involved in the buying decision and the buying decision process. The model shows that buying center and buying decision process are influenced by internal organization, interpersonal and individual factors, as well as external environment factors. The model suggests four questions about the business buyer behavior: what buying decisions do business buyers make? Who participate in the business buying process? What are the major influence on buyers? How do business buyers make their buying decisions? There are four major types of buying situation. Straight buying is a buying situation in which the buyer routinely reorders something without any modifications. Modified buying is a buying situation in which the buyers want to modify product specifications, price, terms, or suppliers. New task is a buying situation in which the buyer purchases a product or service for the first time. System selling is buying a complex solution to a problem from a single seller. There are five types of participants in the business buying process. The users are those that will use the product or service. Influencers help define specification and provide information for evaluating alternatives. Buyers have formal authority to select the suppliers and arrange terms of purchase. Deciders have formal or informal power to select and approve final suppliers. Gatekeepers control the flow of the information. The major influence on business buyer represented on the figure 6.2 include five parts. The first one is environmental, the second one is organizational, interpersonal, individual, and the final one is buyer. The first one include the economy, supply conditions, technology, politics, regulation, competition, culture, and custom. The second one consists of objective, strategy, structure, system, and procedure. The third one include influence, expertise, authority, dynamics. The fourth is age, education, job position, motivates, personality, preference, buying style, and last one is the buyers.
The business buying process. The below figure show 8 major steps of the business buying process. All buyers go through this stage. Usually a new buyer goes through this stage. A buyer may make straight, modify, contrast purchasing decision. So list the name of the 8 steps. First one is a problem recognition. Next is a general need description, product specification, supplier search, proposal solicitation, supplier selection, order routing specification, performance, and the last one is a performance review. In all this is a simple view of the 8 stages of the business buying process. However, the real process is much more complex than this. Straight rebuy, modify rebuy, new task, in contrast, buying situation has unique requirement. Engaging business buyer with digital and social marketing. The e-procurement is the centralized management of a company procurement and supply chain using an electronic platform. The E stands for electronic. It is also sometimes known as a supplier exchange. The online purchasing is a form of electronic commerce which allows consumers to directly buy goods or service from a seller over the internet using a web browser or a mobile app. What is the B2B social media marketing? B2B social media marketing is just what it sounds like. It's when you market your B2B company on social media platform like Facebook and Instagram. Idea is to draw users to your page, get them interested in your content, and eventually drive them to your site. B2B stands for business to business. Institutional market is a market consisting of schools, universities, hospitals, charities, clubs, and similar organizations which buy goods and services for use in the production of their own goods and services. So, what is the government marketing? A government market is a market where the consumer are federal, state, and local government. Government purchase both goods and services from the private sector. The government buys the same type of product and service as a private sector consumer, plus Some more exotic products such as aircraft carriers, fighter jets, tanks, spy satellites, and a nuclear weapon. A growing trend in the past decade has been the outsourcing of traditional government service to private firms such as prison.